Derek, and I'm here talking with
Johan from Tribute Games.
And we're looking at his game, Flinthook. Basically, what struck me about it immediately is I didn't realize it was a roguelike, which I do like the roguelikes, but I just saw Bionic Commando. That was my first thought, the hook shot.
Bionic Commando is one of the inspiration of the game. We have other inspiration, of course, like Spelunky, Rogue Legacy, all those kind of games.
Yeah. Did you flirt with the idea first with doing a more standard levels and kind of a more progression, and you decided to do the roguelike? Is that like maybe a more interesting avenue to pursue for a game like this?
We wanted something less punishing than other roguelike, so you want to play it like an old school 2D platformer.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to do with Flinthook. So
and the animation actually is really, really good. I love the animation of when you leave a level and you pull yourself up like that. I guess where did that idea come from?
The animation is one thing, but all the crazy ideas of the look of the game are from Stéphane Boutin, our main artist.
Yeah.
So he's just giving me some amazing art, and I just have to make it move. So
how long have you been working on this game?
It's been almost 2 years now, and yeah, it's going to be released early next year. At first, it will be on Xbox One and Windows 10.
Okay.
And then we'll see, depends the success of the game.
And then you'll take over the world from there.
Yeah, we'll take over the world.
Well, hey, I'm Derek, and I'm here with
David Reed.
So the pitch is that this is the WordPress of adventure games.
That's a good way to think about it. I mean, in short, the idea here is we're building a platform to allow anybody who can write a story to create an adventure game. And so you'll go through the process, you'll type your narrative, you can branch it, you'll pull in art, you'll pull in audio. The idea really, I mean, I'm not a technical guy and I'm not an artist, but I've always had these stories I've wanted to tell, these adventures I've wanted to write. And like many entrepreneurs, you build the thing that solves your problem. So that's what we're doing here. You know, much like reading an old choose your own adventure book, you've got art, you've got story, you got choices. With a layer of RPG mechanics on top of it, you make a character, your character persists, you roll for combat, you roll for saving rolls, you level up, you go into tougher and tougher adventures as you get more loot, more experience points. You know, not all of us want to write fantasy or sci-fi. Maybe it's cyberpunk, right? Maybe it's romance, right? There are all kinds of licenses that lend themselves very well to this sort of an engine. And the idea really to focus on the narrative, right? That I, as a storyteller or somebody who wants to be a storyteller, I don't need to go find a giant team of engineers and artists and designers to publish something. I get a chance to do the publication of this. We've remastered one of the first adventures called Naked Doom. I'm in.
That's
exactly.
it.
Well, it's a tough one. You start off as a criminal convicted of some unknown offense in the seat of imperial power and troll world in Kazan, and you have to negotiate through this gauntlet of monsters, traps, poisons, and other hazards. If you make it through, you get your freedom and maybe some treasure. We provide you with art that you can just go ahead and download and bring into your adventure, as well as if you want to contribute your own. Similarly, with audio, we're doing the same thing, so you can listen to the sound effects and the music in the library, bring that into a room, or if you happen to be able to create your own, go ahead and do that. And then the second big thing is we'll publish it for you. You know, we'll automatically compile it and curate it and make sure you're not plagiarizing or hate speech or anything terrible. But once you pass that bar, we'll go ahead and let you self-publish it up on Steam and the App Store and Google Play and things like that. And we don't charge you. So, you know, once that thing sells, you're going to get a good chunk of that revenue in a very similar way to Steam Workshop. Part of what's important here is that this is, you know, if you do the demo and you see the experience, right, it's very much like the pen and paper experience of art on one side, story on the other, a character bar, dice rolling across the screen. This is not a super expensive thing to build. And so it's not something where we need to like try to get a huge amount of money out of people to make it successful, right? This is something that it is a much more modest endeavor than things I've been involved with in the past. Doesn't take a lot of money to keep this thing running.
Is there going to be a release date? There's like I saw a sign-in for over there.
Absolutely. So we hope to get into early access by the end of the year. That's the plan. And then commercialize in early 2017.
So you can build games, and it's a little more in-depth, and you have a bar, you have rules in line, so no chumps, no chump stuff.
We don't want chumps.
So the MetaArcade continues the no chump zone. Guaranteed, right? We have that guaranteed?
We will do our best. I don't know that I can guarantee it yet, but we're going to give you a shot.
The chumps are out there. You know, you
got to
be
keep an eye
vigilant.
out for it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're in the Rooster Teeth booth, and I'm here with Chris from True Fun Entertainment. How you doing?
Hi, good.
And I'm really excited to be playing Super Rad Ray Gun. I think if people don't know, I was an early adopter of Rad Ray Gun back on the Xbox Live Indie, and I've been waiting very patiently for this game.
About 3.5 years, 4 years, something like that. Super Rad is, we basically want to take the first Xbox Live indie game and make it Rad Ray Gun on steroids. So the first game had 5 levels, this one has like 25 levels. There's all new enemies, all new power-ups.
Having played just the first level, I got the sense that the first Rad Ray Gun is almost like the demo of this one, because it's almost like about like 20%, 30% of that level was straight from the first game. But there's so much more extra stuff now. Right away I felt the game, like just the handling and the collision detection is so much tighter in this one already. Is it a different engine from the previous one?
Yes, we completely get it, all the old physics, because those are pretty cringeworthy, I admit. But yeah, it's a fresh.
It was $1. It was like, for me, it was like, you know what, I'll take it. It still worked when it needed to.
And like the engineer in me just wanted to build a side scroller back then, and that was my first shot. So this is, we've had a lot more experience with it. Like I said, we went and got a third-party physics engine, so it's got a fresh new feel to it.
You know, on its face, it's a great throwback to Mega Man and Game Boys and stuff like that, but the writing is really, really sharp. Every conceivable area where you can cram a joke in, you do.
First of all, I have to credit Chris Hernandez, the other half of our team.
Okay.
I'm the technical guy that did the programming, and he did all the story writing and level design. It's all based in reality, but we take creative liberties in making it work. We kind of liken it to say that Super Rad is kind of like Mega Man meets Forrest Gump. Because Forrest Gump...
I can see that, because it's all the whole culture together, and he's a part of all of it.
Right, he's part of all of it, and it's kind of historically accurate, but not really, so that's kind of where Rad Ray Gun goes.
Perhaps you can't answer this, but I did notice that the scientist is Dr. Y, and no longer Dr. I think Yokoi was.
Yeah.
Did you have to actually change that? Or did you just play, are you just trying to play it safe, or trying to be more subtle?
Yeah, we're just playing it safe. We'd love to get this ported to other home consoles. We're just launching on PC, Mac, and Linux for now, but we'd love to do home consoles, and that was kind of a subtle way to a nod to Dr. Y or Dr. Yokoi, but yeah.
It was too on the nose before.
Exactly.
How long has the game been finished? Because it feels like it's been a long journey to get it through, but I wasn't sure if that was because you've had been juggling kind of through publishers and whatnot. Has that played in the long wait for this game?
Yeah, well, believe me, like for the last year, a year ago we thought we were done, you know, and that we considered the game content complete, but we were still going back and forth with publishers and stuff. But that year has allowed us to polish the game.
You're with Rooster Teeth now, and you were Screw Attack, and then Screw Attack was bought by Rooster Teeth, correct?
Right.
Before you were with Midnight Run, or
Midnight City, right?
And that deal unfortunately fell through.
Yeah, that deal kind of fell through, and then we signed on with Screw Attack, and then they were acquired by Fullscreen, who also acquired Rooster Teeth, and they all kind of came together. So we just kind of bubbled up, and now we're under Rooster Teeth, and we totally lucked out. So it's awesome though. So.
And you have a firm release date now, at least November. I saw the trailer this morning said November.
Correct.
Do we have a date yet?
We haven't officially said what the date's going to be, but we're shooting for November. And
exclusive scoop right here. Exclusive date.
November 8th is the
yeah,
that's the target. So
okay.
So we've said November to keep it kind of loosey-goosey, but November 8th is the goal.
Was there a time where maybe you thought about doing a whole completely different game, or was it more of the publisher kind of asked for it?
Well, it was a little bit of both. Like, the publisher asked for it, and we were like, gosh, we've been staring at 4 colors for 3 years already. Do we really want to go down this road? But we're like, you know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We got to go for it. So as much as we were interested in hopping onto something different, we had to go for it. And we're really glad we did, because instead of going into another genre of game or whatever, we've been able to really like laser focus on side scrollers and really polish it to where we're really happy with it. For the next game, I think we would like to delve into something different. We haven't even discussed what it would be. But
you're still kind of focusing on getting this out the door before you dive into the next thing?
Yeah, and ports of this as well, you know, doing, like I said, like a PS4 port. But I would like to do something in a little bit of color for next.
Yeah.
But Rad's not going anywhere.
A 70s version of Rad Ray Gun, or like, would we like a tubular ray gun for like, or we like Clint Ton, and he's like really heavy, and he's in the 90s, something like that.
I like it. I can't imagine actually working on a serious title for our next one. It's got to be something goofy.
I had to ask about the soundtrack. First off, how do you pronounce? Is it Phantom K?
It is Phantom and K.
Okay, because I said it wrong in the video, and I got a lot of comments saying, and that no one seemed to understand the correct way to say. So one more time.
Phantom and K.
Phantom and K. Okay, got it.
We've heard it said Phantom Ink and all kinds of stuff, but we actually emailed him and asked him, like, hey, how do you actually say this?
Yeah.
And he sent a little audio clip of how to say it in Swedish. The closest American translation is Phantom and K. So there you go.
And I mean, I heard like the same, at least for the first level, same tunes.
Yeah.
But then I got to the second level of Valdez, and it was a new song. So
Right.
do we have brand new music from him?
Yes, there's the original tracks from the first game, and then we have new tracks from Phantom and K, and then we also have another chiptune artist, Bubble Pipe Media, to do songs for us as well. So it's actually kind of a collaboration of the two.
Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to play the full game, and thank you for talking to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Gary Corvo. I'm the lead designer at Drinkbox, and I was the lead designer on the Severed game.
I know that Severed is going to be ported to a bunch of different consoles. Was there any difficulties in translating it into different platforms?
Certainly there were some challenges. Really, we wanted to make sure that it played well on each piece of hardware. So the big difference between the Vita, which we launched on, and the iOS, with the 3DS, you got the two screens that you're dealing with, right? So, which is great because we can get some extra information in there and put the map up top. Typically, people would put the map at the bottom and the gameplay up top because the top screen is so beautiful. For us, that doesn't work because we're a touch-based game. But what we found what we could do is we could have the full screen up top as well in 3D with a little map in the corner, which looked really nice, but it's more difficult to see kind of where you're getting around. So we added a little toggle button so you can switch modes between having the 3D display duplicated or having the full screen map up top. Wii U is a different challenge again because it's a much bigger screen on the bottom, so you can put like a little mini map in the corner and that works fine as well. We still added that. You can still do full screen at top, but you can also do it on the bottom with the little mini map.
Can you kind of tell, for our viewers, just kind of explain what a lead designer does and what your contributions to Severed as a whole?
Sure. A lot of it is just looking at how each enemy behaves, what's the language that we're communicating to the player in terms of telling them what to do, things like difficulty, economy balancing, the level design, how is the player moving through the level, where are the secrets, how do those work, all those types of things. And I'll say out now, we're a small team, we're like less than 10 people. Everybody contributes to the design to a different degree, and everybody contributes to the art and the story to a different degree. Like everybody gets involved in a lot of different things. But by definition, it's really more about the actual player interaction experience and how things work.
One thing that was so striking to me playing Severed, I think kind of the most impactful moment was in the very beginning of the game when you walk up to the mirror and you see that you are Sasha, and then you are a complete badass. How it's kind of a big issue right now having like a person of color in video games, and also women of color as a general. What led you guys to come to that decision to have that character?
It was never discussed and it was never talked about. It was just kind of something that just happened. So it wasn't a thing for us. And I personally, I don't really think it should be a thing. It just kind of is what it is, right?
In terms of the story of that game, I pulled up a lot of emotions for me, like just the idea of like searching and finding your family, and without spoiling anything, just kind of what that entails and the hardships involved. What considerations did you think of in terms of design to really like drive that emotion home to the player?
Right. So quite a bit actually, and it was really more of a focus on the themes than the story in the literal sense. And thematically, it's about dealing with loss and how to move on when you're dealing with loss. That's really what it's about at its core. And it had an impact in terms of what, and I don't want to give any spoilers either, but there's definitely gameplay impacts there as well in terms of what we decide to do with certain elements in the game to reflect those themes in the way that we want them to be reflected. So there are things, very specific things that happen in the game that are not just pure because we think it's fun or it's pure gameplay, but because it also supported those core themes of the game.
Is there anything you like want to tell people about Severed or about Drinkbox Studios in general?
Really, just check it out. It's a pretty cool game. It's probably pretty unique compared to things you've seen before. If you don't like touch-based games and you don't like dungeon crawlers, it doesn't mean that you won't like Severed. I think it's we've had a lot of people that have had that sort of opinion about things, and they try it and it's like, oh, this is really different and this is pretty cool. So we love it, and we hope other people love it too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm standing here with Alex
Yeah.
from
13 AM Games.
Runbow was your first project.
Yes. So we released Runbow last year on the Wii U eShop. Only 9-player game, I think, ever. I mean, there was like Saturn Bomberman, but that's 10, not 9, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Was there a limit to how many people you could have on Saturn Bomberman?
I don't even know. It was insane.
Is the nine-player multiplayer game, is that because now we're no longer shackled by the number of cords you can plug into a system, and now you can just have sync as many as you want?
Actually, not quite. You can actually have a Wii remote and you can plug in any extension controller, like a nunchuck or class controller, and it reads both. So we just basically said, hey Nintendo, we can technically read both, so can we just have you play with a friend tethered? And they were like, yeah, sure, why not? So with 4 Wii remotes, 4 classic controllers, and 1 gamepad, you get 9 people. You can even play with just a nunchuck if you want, which is also cool for like accessibility. Like anyone can play it.
Or if you're ambidextrous and you really want an extra challenge.
It's a color-based platformer. As the background changes colors, the platforms will appear and disappear. So if there's like a green platform and the background changes to green, you can't see it, it doesn't exist. It's got a single-player mode with like 146 levels, a bunch of unlockable guest characters from other indie games like Shovel Knight and Gunvolt and Shantae. The Wii U version is available on the eShop now and is coming to retail next month with all the DLC and a bunch of other cool goodies. And then the 3DS version, the new 3DS version, it's called Rumbow Pocket, and it's coming out digitally and on retail early next year.
Now, I don't mean to pivot slightly, but you mentioned you have like Shovel Knight and other characters in your game, and you're not the first game to do this. Explain how that process goes. Like, it seems like as though that perhaps this community is really not that competitive, or it seems like a great, real community. Can you comment on that?
We demoed the game at Indiecade like 2 years ago. And we were demoing next to Shovel Knight, and we made the joke that Hugh, the main character, when he's blue and like not wearing any clothes, we were like, hey, it's kind of like Shovel Knight without horns. And we laughed, and then we were like, wait, do you want to put Shovel Knight in the game? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And then from there, it just grew. Like the Drinkbox guys, we're also from Toronto, so we're good friends with them, so getting Juan in the game was pretty easy. For the other games, like we just said, hey Nintendo, here's a list of all the indie developers that we'd like to reach out to. Can you help us out? And they were like, yeah, we'll handle it, don't worry. And reached out to all of them, and all of them were like, yeah, we want to be in your game. So we've got like 19 characters.
Yeah, and it seems so simple. It seems like this type of thing that people would want. Master Chief is not going to show up in an Uncharted game or something like that. That kind of connection, I think, is really profound, and you can only see in the indie space.
Totally. And like there's no, it's not awkward. There's not some kind of like, we need a revenue share, and we need this and that, and you can't do this. It's just really simple and really friendly, and like, hey, we'd love to have our character in your game, and we'll even help like spread it on social media.
Moving on to the new project, though. You let me play this for a second, and it was basically Buster Brothers on the Game Boy with like sort of some physics hooks, and that was really all you had to say.
Yeah, I mean, take Buster Bros, add in a bunch of weapons, add in a bunch of power-up, put it on a fake Game Boy called the Pocket Game, and add some gravity mechanics. So you'll be blasting away with your anchor, popping these bubbles, and every now and then gravity will switch, and then while that's happening, you can then hop on the bubbles and pop them that way, and you can build up a chain and build up a combo. You can get like a machine gun to blast away. You can get anchors that stick into walls. You can earn coins in the game, and the coins go towards customizing your fake Game Boy. There's some really cool faceplates. There's one that's like a crystal faceplate where you can see the little chips behind it and everything. Music from all sorts of chiptune artists, all done in Family Tracker. Dan Rodriguez, who did Runbow, he's got 2 tracks in there. Harry Waters, son of Roger Waters, the dude from Pink Floyd. This is his first video game soundtrack, and it's chiptune, and it's awesome. If you're a fan of the Game Boy aesthetic, and you like awesome chiptune music, and you like fake Game Boys covered in Runbow stickers, like this is your game, right? So it's coming out October 6th. It's available for new Nintendo 3DS and Wii U. It's $4.99. It's cross-buy. Get one, you get the other. It's also coming to Steam, and it'll come to a bunch of future platforms as we get through them. We're only 9 guys, so you know we'll get there when we get there. But yeah.
And you're actually kind of venturing in the publishing realm as well. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So this is actually, we helped a small company in Tokyo, a single dude named Hawken, great guy. His company Dodako developed this game. I saw it at TGS last year, and I was like, this can't just live on your computer. We have to bring this to people. So we helped him kind of expand the game, add in all the kind of customization aspects and achievements and stuff, and then port it to Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, and now we're publishing it for them worldwide.
I guess, thank you so much for talking. Anything else you want the people to know?
Check us out on Twitter, 13am Games, 13amgames.com. and watch all of Derek's stuff. It's awesome. I'm a huge fan. So yeah, this is great. PAX is awesome.
I'm a huge fan of great games, so that's why I'm here. All right. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
I'm Norman Wang. I'm the executive producer on Earthlight.
I'm Emre Deniz. I'm the design and project lead of Earthlight.
We just had a great demo with, what would you call this? It is a demo astronaut's training simulator.
Our goal is really to create the closest experience that you get to be an actual astronaut. So you're in space, but also you're going through the years of training that an astronaut would undertake.
You said that you're going to have hopefully 5, or you confirmed 5 levels.
At the moment, what we're planning on doing is releasing them episodically. So we have 4 planned episodes, 0, 1, 2, and 3. 0 is really what we're focusing on now, and that's all about training. And we're trying to pluck out some of the most interesting training segments of an astronaut's career and represent them in VR. Some of them you do solo, some of them you do in pairs, and we also vary the complexity of the tasks that you'll be asked to do, the urgency of the tasks you're required to do.
How much can you talk about with this game and in terms of the other tasks and other places you'll be going?
That's a good question, Doug, because there's a range of things that you could do inside of this environment that maps closely to what astronauts do. The use of tools, the use of equipment, the manipulation of that environment as well. They're all things that we'll be looking at. But on top of that, you're also going to be in the main character's kind of office environment as well. So in between these missions, there's always this free-form interaction where you get to understand like the backstory of items and see the progression of this character, so that we have a story kind of driven gameplay, but on top of that we have like a mechanics driven gameplay.
I have to ask because the first one we played ended with you floating off backwards, and I was thinking of the film Gravity, and I was like, oh, is there going to be like a rescue mission? Am I going to see kind of like a more bombastic and exciting experience? Is this more of the reality of what an astronaut does, necessarily not what the Hollywood system does?
Well, it's a really interesting question, because in real life, astronauts' life is in constant danger.
Yes.
The slightest problem on the International Space Station could kill the crew. But we've come to this from a really authenticity-driven angle to say what can happen.
Yeah.
Because it is already a very dramatic thing.
Yeah.
So we don't need to up the ante. All we need to do is find a realistic way to represent the drama that's already kind of constantly surrounding astronauts.
The idea that we're looking at is it's already hard enough to move in this environment because you're developing skills that you as a human being haven't developed yet. So you're learning how to move around in microgravity and moving your hands and wrists to rotate your body around. Then we add a layer of like you're learning how to repair equipment, but then we add the idea of like, hey, by the way, your environment is really, really dangerous, and how I guess like brave that these people are to be able to go up there and have like 13,000 people on the ground supporting them 24 hours a day. And I guess that we're looking at ways to obviously add some excitement to that, but not in a Hollywood sense. Like we're not going to have Independence Day aliens kind of warp in and you have to fight them with your AK-47.
Yeah.
We could have it.
You could, but well, I guess that's the next question is, how and when did NASA get involved? And I would imagine when you have NASA on board, they're probably more interested in the realities of being an astronaut and not Independence Day and shooting,
Oh, no, they're interested in that too. They're getting ready. NASA's getting ready for all this.
Oh, breaking, hot scoop, here we go. Aliens are coming, but NASA's got it.
I'm going to get assassinated for this. NASA's not preparing for an alien invasion as far as we are aware.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, no problem. No, yes. Nothing to be worried about. We're safe.
We're all safe. We put Earthlight's image captures on our space on Reddit first, and I think the first thing people asked was, those are great photos. Which astronauts took them? Like they're not photos, they're actual renders from the game. And then it exploded. It was on the front page of Reddit for a little while, and I think our first kind of teaser trailer got 120,000 views. And our IMGU kind of exploded as well. And a couple of people from different laboratories at NASA kind of just messaged saying, "Hi, we're NASA. We use Reddit. Just wanted to drop in and just kind of we need to talk. We all need to sit down and talk right now." We had a huge community discussion. Their engineers were in there talking on the thread about their experiences and their work as well. And that really kind of got everything together, I think.
We were looking into experiences that we thought, okay, it demonstrates the technology of VR, the the novel interfaces that we built with the Kinect, and also what the fidelity of what can be achieved on consumer VR technology. So it was the intersection of these three things, and as Emre said, it was 10 weeks. We only had 10 weeks to put together the initial demo, but that was enough to drum up the interest.
Where is this game going to be? Because again, the market space for a lot of these is still kind of fuzzy. So can you speak on where the availability is going to be?
So I think it's really about the capabilities of the platform. So we saw, like previously you were saying about how the marketplace is still in flux. I think once with Sony and Microsoft sort of coming in with VR-ready consoles, and Sony shipping PlayStation VR in October, I think we're going to see like a stabilization. So this year to be primarily a PC focus year, and then next year as we start having VR ready consoles, we can start exploring exactly how we can transfer the fidelity of the experience that was originally done for desktop onto these platforms.
Release date, we're looking at Q4 for a demo that will be publicly available, and we'd love for fans to get into it, give us feedback. We've received really good feedback right now from both our GDC exhibition and our PAX exhibition as well, or the time that we've spent at PAX right now has been really, really rewarding for us. So it's great for us to engage with the community. And we've started with community roots, like Earthlight started off as reaching out to people who are fans of space. So we'd love to just repeat that exercise again and see what the reception is at the end of the year.
Is there a website or something they can go to, like a Twitter account as well?
Earthlightvr.com, and we'll be bringing out our VR beat stick and around the time we're ready to release.
Yeah. Just a tangential question. Was .VR not available?
No, .VR is still not available.
We'll have a hawk just sitting there all day.
Exactly. Yeah. Hire some intern. Like, if this happens, you go right now, yeah.
Watch the screen. Do not look away from the screen. Just keep refresh all day.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I don't have other appointments. I really appreciate talking to you.
No problem.
All right.